Welcome back, everyone. Today we're talking about something that almost everyone thinks about at some point, saving money for a goal. It could be buying a new phone, taking a vacation, paying for college, or even saving for a house. Whatever the goal is, saving money isn't always easy. Emma, have you ever had to save for something that was really important to you?
Absolutely. A few years ago, I wanted to travel abroad, but I quickly realized that wanting something and being able to afford it are two very different things. At first, I thought I could save whatever money was left at the end of each month. The problem was that there was never much left. I kept spending on little things without paying attention. That's when I understood that if I wanted to reach my goal, I had to make saving a priority instead of an afterthought.
I think that's a mistake many people make. They believe they'll save whatever is left over, but everyday expenses have a way of using up almost all of our income. Coffee, snacks, online shopping, eating out, it all seems inexpensive at the moment, but those small purchases add up surprisingly fast. Once I started tracking my spending, I was shocked to see how much money I was spending on things I didn't really need.
The interesting thing is that saving money doesn't always mean making huge sacrifices. People sometimes imagine they have to stop enjoying life completely, but that's not true. For me, it was more about making smarter choices. Instead of ordering food several times a week, I started cooking more often. Instead of buying clothes every month, I waited until I actually needed something. Those simple changes didn't make me feel deprived, but over time, they made a noticeable difference.
That's a great point because saving is really about making decisions that match your priorities. Every time we spend money, we're choosing between what we want today and what we want in the future. Once I started thinking that way, it became easier to avoid unnecessary purchases. Whenever I wanted to buy something, I would ask myself one simple question: do I want this item more than I want my goal? Surprisingly, that question helped me make better decisions.
I like that idea because it makes you pause before spending. Another habit that helped me was setting a specific goal instead of saying, I just want to save more money. I gave myself a clear target and a deadline. Suddenly, saving felt much more meaningful because I knew exactly what I was working toward. Every time I added money to my savings, it felt like I was getting one step closer to something exciting.
Having a clear goal also keeps you motivated during difficult times. There were moments when I wanted to spend my savings on something fun, but then I remembered why I had started in the first place. It wasn't always easy, but reminding myself of the bigger picture helped me stay focused. I realized that discipline isn't about saying no forever, it's about saying not right now.
That's such an important mindset. People often think successful savers have incredible self-control, but I don't think that's the whole story. I think they've simply built good habits. For example, some people automatically transfer part of their paycheck into a savings account before they have the chance to spend it. That way, saving becomes automatic instead of something they have to remember every month.
Automation really does make life easier. When you don't have to think about saving every single month, you're much more likely to stay consistent. Even if it's a small amount, consistency matters more than perfection. Saving $20 every week for a year can be much more effective than planning to save a large amount but never actually doing it.
And I think that's a lesson that applies to many areas of life, not just money. Whether you're learning English, exercising, reading books, or saving for a goal, progress usually comes from small, consistent actions. We often underestimate what we can achieve over several months because we're too focused on immediate results.
Exactly. It's easy to become discouraged when progress feels slow, but every small step counts. The important thing is to keep moving forward instead of giving up. Saving money isn't really about becoming rich overnight. It's about building habits that give you more freedom and more opportunities in the future.
I couldn't agree more. Reaching a financial goal feels amazing, but what stays with you even longer is the confidence you gain along the way. You realize that you're capable of planning ahead, making thoughtful decisions, and achieving something that once seemed difficult. That confidence often carries over into other parts of your life as well.
So, if you're listening today and you've been thinking about saving for something important, maybe this is the perfect time to get started. Your goal doesn't have to be huge and you don't need a perfect plan. Just decide what you're saving for, begin with an amount you can manage, and stay consistent. Small steps today can lead to big achievements tomorrow.
That's a wonderful message to end on. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope this conversation has given you some useful ideas and at the same time helped you practice your English listening skills. We'll see you again in our next episode with another everyday conversation. Until then, take care and keep learning. Part 2.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Everyday English Conversations. I'm David, and I'm so happy you're joining us today. Whether you're listening while driving to work, taking a walk, relaxing at home, or practicing your English, thank you for spending your time with us. Today's topic is one that affects almost every part of our lives, and it's something nearly everyone struggles with at some point. We're talking about building self-confidence. Confidence influences the way we speak, the decisions we make, the opportunities we take, and even the relationships we build. The interesting thing is that people often assume confidence is something you're born with. They look at someone who speaks comfortably in public or someone who seems fearless, and they think that person has always been confident. But is that really true? Emma, what do you think? Do you believe confidence is something we're born with, or is it something we develop over time?
That's such an interesting question, because I used to believe confidence was simply part of someone's personality. I thought there were two kinds of people in the world. There were confident people who could walk into any room, start conversations with strangers, share their opinions without hesitation, and try new things without worrying about failure. Then there were people like me who constantly questioned themselves, worried about making mistakes, and avoided situations that felt uncomfortable. For a long time, I accepted that as my reality. I told myself, I'm just not a confident person. Looking back, I realized that sentence became part of my identity. Every time I avoided speaking up in class or turned down an opportunity because I was afraid, I was proving that belief to myself. The strange thing is that I wasn't lacking ability. I was lacking belief. Those are two completely different things.
I think that's something many people can relate to. We often confuse confidence with talent, but they're not the same. You can be incredibly talented and still doubt yourself every single day. At the same time, someone with average skills but strong confidence may achieve more simply because they're willing to take action. When I was younger, I avoided public speaking whenever I could. If a teacher asked for volunteers to present in front of the class, I would immediately look down at my desk, hoping they wouldn't call my name. My heart would race, my hands would become sweaty, and I would imagine everyone judging me. What's funny is that nothing terrible usually happened. Most people weren't paying nearly as much attention as I imagined. But in my mind, every mistake felt enormous.
I know exactly what you mean. It's amazing how powerful our imagination can be. Sometimes we create problems that don't even exist. Before speaking, we imagined forgetting every word. Before applying for a job, we imagined getting rejected. Before meeting new people, we imagine awkward conversations. The reality is usually much kinder than the stories we tell ourselves. One thing I've learned over the years is that confidence doesn't come before action. Most people believe they need to feel confident first, and then they'll try something new. But life usually works the opposite way. You try something while feeling nervous, you survive, you realize it wasn't as bad as you expected, then you become a little more confident. That process repeats over and over until the thing that once scared you becomes normal.
I completely agree. Confidence is built through experience, not through waiting. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. Imagine a child standing next to a bike saying, "I'll ride once I feel completely confident." That day would probably never come. The child becomes confident by getting on the bike, wobbling a little, falling a few times, and eventually learning how to balance. Life works exactly the same way. Whether it's learning English, starting a new job, opening a business, or making new friends, confidence grows through repetition. Every successful person has experienced moments of uncertainty. The difference is that they kept going despite those feelings.
That's such an important message because many people think confident individuals never feel afraid. But if you ask athletes, musicians, business owners, or actors, many of them will tell you they still get nervous before important moments. The difference isn't that fear disappears. The difference is that they don't allow fear to make every decision. I've heard people say, be fearless. Personally, I don't think that's realistic. Instead, I prefer the idea of being brave. Being brave means you acknowledge your fear, but you move forward anyway. That's something everyone can learn.
Absolutely. Another thing that affects confidence is comparison. It's easier than ever to compare ourselves with others because we're constantly seeing people's achievements online. Someone buys a new house, someone else gets promoted, another person travels the world or starts a successful business. We see the highlights of other people's lives while comparing ours to ordinary everyday moments. Naturally, we begin to feel like we're falling behind. But here's what we often forget. We're comparing our entire story with someone else's best moments. That's never a fair comparison.
Exactly. And what makes it even more difficult is that we rarely know what happens behind the scenes. We see the success. We don't see the years of practice. We see the finished product. We don't see the hundreds of mistakes that came before it. I remember learning English several years ago. Whenever I listened to fluent speakers, I felt discouraged. I thought they had some special talent that I didn't have. Later, I discovered many of them had spent years studying, making mistakes, practicing every day, and feeling frustrated just like everyone else. That realization changed my perspective completely. Instead of comparing myself to other people, I started comparing myself to the person I had been 6 months ago. That was a much healthier way to measure progress.
I love that idea because confidence grows when we recognize our own improvement. Sometimes progress is so gradual that we don't even notice it. Think about learning a language. At first, introducing yourself feels difficult. A few months later, you're holding simple conversations. After a year, you're discussing ideas and sharing opinions. If you only focus on what you still can't do, you'll always feel discouraged. But if you stop occasionally and remember where you started, you'll realize just how far you've come. And I think that lesson applies to almost every goal in life.
There's another habit that quietly damages confidence, and that's negative self-talk. We all have an inner voice, and sometimes that voice can be incredibly harsh. Imagine speaking to your best friend the way some people speak to themselves. You'll never succeed. You're not smart enough. You always mess things up. You'll embarrass yourself. Most of us would never say those things to someone we care about. Yet we repeat them to ourselves every day without even realizing it. The words we use inside our minds shape the way we see ourselves. Changing that inner conversation doesn't happen overnight, but becoming aware of it is the first step. Instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, we can say, I'm still learning. Instead of saying, I'll never be confident, we can say, my confidence is growing every time I practice. Those small changes may seem simple, but over time, they can completely transform the way we think.
And that's such a powerful place to pause. Because confidence isn't built by waiting for the perfect moment or hoping fear disappears one day. It's built through small choices that we make every single day. Every conversation we start, every challenge we accept, every mistake we learn from, and every time we choose progress instead of perfection, we're strengthening our confidence little by little.